Johnston, both from the National Oceanographic Atmospheric Administration and their project, Lionfish University. Dave.
Hi, everybody. So, if you're from Texas, or if you've ever walked barefoot anywhere in Texas, you may not know what a lionfish is, but you know what this critter is. It's the fire ant. A beautiful thing, but imagine a swarm of them, foot long fire ants, and they want your brisket. Add water, that's lionfish. Lionfish, another beautiful creature. Really beautiful, aren't they? But like a lot of beautiful things, they can make your life miserable. They're a Pacific fish that invaded the Atlantic and Gulf of Mexico nearly over 20 years ago. And we could lose a Texas treasure and some of the world's most outstanding coral reefs because of it. I'm Dr. Steve Gittings, and on behalf of Lionfish University, here's the science in a seashell. The lionfish is a perfect invader, a venomous, voracious killer that eats everything and nothing eats them. They don't seem to get sick, and they're prolific. Females churn out 30,000 eggs every 3 days. So no predators, no diseases, an open buffet, and lots of reproduction. Fun if you can get it, but an environmental disaster. So along with the global effects of climate change, the pollution coming from everywhere in every variety, plastics making their way across the entire ocean, accumulating everywhere, and now lionfish. All bad news, but hold on, there is a silver lining. Can we see the video, please?
There is a danger lurking in some coast water, and most people aren't even aware of it. Lionfish.
Invasive lionfish.
Lionfish.
This story started as one about a fish problem, but it's become one about people. People caused the invasion, people sounded the alarm, and people, scientists, hunters, entrepreneurs, and consumers, are the heroes fighting to save places they care about. People have become the predator, and they're giving nature a hand.
Lionfish are bad. There is no guilt involved in killing lionfish. So the more that you kill, the better bloke you are.
1,100 fish in 2 days.
2,400, 2,500.
Close to 800 dead lionfish.
It's a contact sport.
The best meat is right there.
And I do believe that we are making a difference. We just got to keep doing it. Why not? It's fun. We're making money off of it. What else? We're saving the planet. What else do we want?
Well, we want you. Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Johnston, and one place living the lionfish nightmare is my place of work, the Flower Garden Banks National Marine Sanctuary, 100 miles off the Texas coast. It has some of the healthiest coral reefs in the world, and so far they've even resisted impacts from climate change. But as lionfish numbers grow, so does concern for these awesome reefs. We at Lionfish University will create an inspiring and empowering documentary about a ragtag army of lionfish hunters and scientists that makes the annual trek to the flower gardens to deal with the lionfish problem. Each diver handpicked, highly skilled, committed, and competitive. This cast of eclectic underwater heroes reminds us that we have the power to save our planet if we take action. It's a can-do story that needs to be told, and we owe it to our only home. We've received $20,000 from volunteers and benefactors for our expedition to the flower gardens to remove lionfish next June. We seek funding for a film crew to participate on the mission, and afterwards to capture the inspirational stories of some people whose lives were changed by the lionfish invasion. Welcome to the force. Maybe your life will change too. Thanks to our mentor, John Bowermaster and Good Pitch Texas for this tremendous opportunity.
All right, thank you, Dr. Johnston, and thank you, Dr. Gittings. Lionfish, and honestly, they look really pretty, but I guess looks are deceiving. Okay, let's hear from our panelists. We're going to keep our comments to a minute again, guys. There's a lot to get through and a lot of people to talk to. So first up, George Cummings is a board member of the World Federation Coral Reef Conservation. He's an oceanographic ambassador for United Nations SDG 14. He's a biochemist and a technology enthusiast with over 30 years scuba diving experience as a video journalist. George, nice to see you, sir.
It's nice to be here, an honor to be here, actually, and thank you to the Good Pitch people and everyone that was involved in putting this together. I've known Steve and the Lionfish University project literally from their inception. If there was some way we could do a mind meld and people could actually grasp the gravity of the impact of lionfish on the seafood industry, the number of jobs, and literally millions of dollars every year lost because this thing just eats everything. So it's eating a fish that's this big that would grow up to be a 600-pound grouper if the lionfish didn't exist. So it's a big problem, and we need a ton of awareness. And Steve and the Lionfish University team are looking at several different alternative options, and awareness will help them get funding and keep this force of people that are out there doing the diligent task of trying to at least mitigate these things where divers can work. We've got a bigger problem, but this thing is so important, and I just encourage everyone to share the information of this and back this project for the impact it could make.
Thank you, sir. Love those kind words. Next up, we're going to go to Steve Nemeth. Steve Nemeth, whose film production credits include The Sessions, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and documentaries such as Dogtown and Z-Boys, War Dance, Flow, which actually was the winner at the AFI Dallas Festival that I was artistic director for back in the day, and most recently, Freak Power. Steve, good to see you, sir. How's the hair?
I'm delighted to see you. I do have hair back here. And it's certainly, I'm not in competition with you because you're the king, but I got it. It's back in the COVID bun, so to speak. Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here, honored to be here. Pretty big environmental activist. I'm on the board of Friends of the Earth, the largest environmental activist organization by chapter in the world, and I have never, ever known that the lionfish was this much of a problem. So for that, I'm very grateful. It's so counterintuitive to me that something so beautiful is so destructive. I clearly think there's got to be something we can learn from how incredibly, I don't know, brutal and strong and impenetrable they are. And I think that there's a message here wherein we can channel our anger and our energy towards that sort of a predator rather than each other. So allegorically, I think, and metaphorically, I think there's some sort of a beautiful message that can be conveyed here. I'm really, really grateful to scientists now more than ever, and scientists that enter the world of documentary and give us facts over fiction is fabulous. I'm curious to know whether the lionfish had any real value in the Atlantic prior to its migration into the Pacific, because there has to be a reason for it to exist. How did it morph into something so evil and awful? What can we learn from it? I'm here to help in any way that I can. I'm involved in a tropical fish documentary called The Dark Hobby, which explores the danger of catching tropical fish for sport and hobby, which is also becoming a bit of an environmental disaster. And there are ways in which I'm sure that these particular marine-related docs can assist each other and learn from each other. That's Lincoln. He's a big environmentalist. And I'm here to help. I've found the pitch very compelling. There's so much more I want to know, so much more I need to know, so much more I think that it can be, which I'm sure it will be, but, there's only so much time you can convey this.
We can definitely make sure that connection happens, Stephen. So I appreciate your words and happy birthday, my old friend, or young friend as it would be. Next up, we're going to Alize Carrere. Alize is pursuing her PhD at Leonard and James Abbess Center for Ecosystem Science and Policy at the University of Miami. Her research examines human adaptations to environmental change. She's a full-time National Geographic Society grantee and filmmaker working on a documentary related to her research. Alize, welcome.
Hi there, welcome. First, and I'm so honored to be here. Michelle and Steve, that was a superb pitch. This is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. I'm really excited to see that an invasive species issue is getting attention. I think invasive species, generally speaking, right now should be getting a lot more attention. As has already been mentioned, they've caused billions of dollars of economic damage, and as it relates to jobs and all of the ripple effects. So I'm really excited about this. And being somebody who's currently based in Miami right now, the lionfish issue is one I'm quite familiar with. And even more directly related is that I have been working on a very analogous story about the invasive Asian river carp in the Mississippi and Missouri rivers. So with that experience, I wanted to just offer two little ideas or suggestions, and also put myself out here for support from the creative side of things. One of the things I noticed, what I love that you guys are doing is focusing on the human element of this story. I'm an environmental anthropologist, so I look a lot at the human relationship to nature, and I think that is a really strong one around the invasive species issue at large, no matter what species you're focusing on. So kudos for really driving in on that. Also, I was going to mention that you have the benefit of having an incredibly charismatic kind of protagonist as the lionfish. So that is something we struggled with. The Asian carp is not as beautiful and exciting as the lionfish, and I think creatively, if you can lean into that, I don't know if that's through animation or a way to kind of personify it a little bit. I found that a lot of people in these audiences around, looking at invasive species issues are really kind of excited and interested and want to know more. Is it this killer? Is it a predator? All the things. So the more you can build into that, I think it really helps the story. And then last but not least, I think that there's a really huge impact portion to this, especially, in Miami, you go to the Publix or any supermarket, you do see lionfish meat. And that was something we found with the Asian carp story, was that people were really interested in the what do we do with these fish once we kill them? Can we eat them? How can we make it more palatable for American audiences? So just a couple thoughts. I would love to talk with you all further about creative content, but also just generally about covering the issue of invasive species. And we're actually, I'm in a point in my project right now where I'm looking at how to tie some of these conversations together. And the invasive carp issue is very, very closely related to a lot of the things that you guys are experiencing as storytellers right now and scientists. So I look forward to being in touch.
Thank you very much, Alize. Next up, David Holbrook is a documentary film producer and director, film festival curator, and a cultural entrepreneur. He currently heads up programming at EarthX Film and has recently founded the Original Thinkers Film Festival, and they make these really great hats. I love them, actually, this hat's really good. David is an original thinker and a good friend. They're very tall, David Holbrook. Hi, David.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, James, and thank you to all the pitch folks making this happen. I'm going to go real quick. The pitch is super interesting to me. Obviously, we're interested in EarthX Film. I guess some of my questions are deep because scientists are great, not necessarily always filmmakers, but love to talk more about it. And I think there's so much potential to get this story out, and we have a network of people who are great at amplifying. I also think it reminds us of a film we had at the festival 2 years ago called about Trouble at Caddo Lake. And I think we can connect you with that filmmaker to talk about how you get that impact on the ground. I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to keep it quick, but good luck. And thanks again, James. You're rocking it.
Thanks, David. Good to see you. Good to hear from you out there in Yellowstone. Be careful out there. Okay, next up, Roger Mueller. Roger's a degree in environmental science. He's a scuba instructor with 125 certifications in scuba. He owns lionfishdivers.com, which educates people about lionfish. He's a field reporter for Lionfish University, and as a day job is an insurance agent from New Jersey, which sells insurance in 30 states, including Texas. Mueller Insurance is a sponsor of the Emerald Coast Lionfish Tournament in Destin, Florida. Roger.
How are you? Real excited to be here today, and there's so many great people they have speaking. It's kind of tough to jump in after everybody, but very impressed by everyone that spoke so far. Over the last 10 years, I've hunted lionfish in 10 different countries, including Cuba, Aruba, Panama, Jamaica. I've met a lot of really nice people, including hunters, chefs, artists, scientists, like Dr. Gittings. And I have to say that Lionfish University is my favorite group. About 6 years ago, I was introduced to Lionfish University owners Stacy, Frank, and JB Hart, and we all have the same mission to educate people about the problems lionfish are creating underwater and to remove as many as possible, using traps and other removal devices, hunting. Anyway, I highly recommend joining Lionfish University and to fight the lionfish battle, to fight lionfish. I'm proud to be part of Lionfish University 4-part series, public safety series, in order to safely hunt lionfish that was produced this year. And then also after listening to Dr. Steve Gittings, I realized how much I care about helping Lionfish University and removing lionfish. And Muller Insurance is going to donate $5,000 towards the Flower Garden project, the bank project. And I really love what Lionfish University is doing. A lot of great people, tremendous group, and they're really helping the environment. And a lot of people do not know all the issues that the lionfish are creating underwater. And myself and helping Lionfish University educate people to all the issues. So I'm really proud to be part of Lionfish University. Thanks.
Okay, so thank you so much, Roger. Folks want to know how to get involved and where to get lionfish. Apparently, you can get them at Whole Foods, and there's even a cookbook. So, over in the chat room, from Sandy Dubowski, you said competition. Could this be not just a documentary, but a game? To reach the next generation of gamers and get them involved? To which Beatty Finzi of Doc Society says, nice idea, Sandy. I wonder if the team knows the folks at Games for Change. Happy to do an introduction. Allison Week says, love that you get to feature the flower gardens in this, as people don't know this reef system exists. Philip Karp says, malicious but delicious. Snacks. From Nick Sikar, as the videographer for NOAA Office of National Marine Sanctuaries, I look forward to supporting in any way we can. If you can't beat them, then eat them. Ooh, these taglines are coming. From S.J. Murray. So S.J. Murray has lots of great ideas and invites all to Powder Summit for lionfish tacos. Isn't that fantastic, James?
Okay, it feels like lionfish to me it's like a contact sport, I guess, or some sort of UFC event to go out and capture these things. Okay, so we need all kinds of stories to solve this climate crisis, and it seems that the team at Doc Society created a whole new unit to do just that. I'm pleased to introduce Megha Agrawal-Sood from Doc Society. Megha, how you doing?
So great. Another wonderful day of Good Pitch. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Megha. I just recently joined the Doc Society team to launch the new climate unit. Doc